The Iberians have been spotted fleeing north. He realizes his only chance to identify the traitor is to go undercover and pursue them. Instructing the rest of the legion to hold and defend the fortress, Dunkinarius takes Timkus Hortonius, his most trusted friend, fighter, and strategist, and the pair set off to the north. Over the next 3 days they slowly gain on the retreating Iberian army. As they approach, they are startled to feel the ground shaking during the day. They feel the vibrations in their feet like tremors from an avalanche. Approaching the southern border of Gaul, they know they are too close to the fleeing army and might get spotted. Timkus has a bold idea. The following night they put on disguises and head into the enemy camp. In the morning they begin marching as part of the enemy infantry. They make friends with a group of soldiers and learn they are retreating to get reinforcements in order to stage another attack on the Romans. They also learn that the uprising is being led by 2 mysterious men, nicknamed the Magni. No one knows who the Magni are, but some believe they are former Roman soldiers who defected from the army in order to gain status. As Dunkinarius and Timkus Hortonius blend in with the Iberian ranks, they overhear whispers of the Magni's next move, a grand alliance with the Gauls. This revelation sends a chill down Dunkinarius' spine. If the Iberians and the Gauls unite, Rome could face its most formidable challenge yet. Under the guise of night, Dunkinarius and Timkus sneak into the tent of the camp's commander, hoping to find more clues about the Magni. Instead, they stumble upon maps detailing not just military strategies, but also secret Roman codes and signals, which could only have been provided by someone with deep knowledge of Roman tactics. The betrayal runs deeper than they thought. The duo decides to split up to cover more ground. Timkus, with his knack for strategic thinking, heads to intercept a Gaulish delegation rumored to be arriving soon, while Dunkinarius stays to uncover the identity of the traitors within. The Iberian army continued retreating, and when they reached a safe haven near the Gaulish border, they began to regroup and train for another campaign. Dunkinarius, leveraging his javelin skills, joins an Iberian training session where he demonstrates his prowess. His display of skill even drew the attention of the Magni. The Magni were 2 huge men. Their walking had been the cause of the earth's tremors. Intrigued by this new recruit, the Magni invite him for a private audience. Here Dunkinarius discovers the Magni are actually Crisperian and Cremenius Donutae, his distant cousins he had met in Sandal Camp. Fortunately, they do not recognize him in his disguise. Crisperian and Cremenius reveal they defected from Rome because of the injustices and lack of recognition because of their plebeian heritage. This sentiment struck a chord with Dunkinarius, as he is reminded of the abuse he endured at Sandal Camp. Dunkinarius is shocked by how much he agrees with their grievances, but does not reveal his identity. He ponders this revelation for the next few days while he befriends other members of the Iberian cause. Meanwhile, Timkus, using his charm and wit, befriended the Gaulish emissary. Over shared wine, he learned that the Gauls are skeptical of the alliance with the Iberians, but are tempted by the promise of Roman lands and riches. Timkus, playing the part of a disgruntled Roman officer, fed them misinformation about Roman defenses, subtly steering them away from the real vulnerabilities. Their army is nearly 10,000 strong and is approaching the Iberian haven. Back in the Iberian camp, Dunkinarius, torn between his loyalty to Rome and empathy for the Magni's grievances, proposes a bold plan. He lays the groundwork for a tournament where Roman and Iberian warriors could compete, not just in combat but in games of strategy and wit, as a way to foster respect and understanding between the forces. This would give plebeians and foreigners a way to gain status in Roman society without needing patrician blood. The Magni, seeing the tournament as a chance to showcase their prowess and perhaps gain more followers, agree. Dunkinarius sends Timkus back to the fortress to arrange for the rest of the Roman army to participate. The tournament becomes a spectacle. Here, Dunkinarius uses the event to subtly rekindle a sense of Roman identity with the Magni, showcasing the honor and glory of Rome, not just its might. Timkus had the most distinguished accomplishment when a gust of wind blew his javelin into a maple tree. As the sap dripped out, it dripped onto a lit torch, where it burned away into maple syrup. Eventually, many years later, this led to the invention of Canada. That is a story for a different day. In the middle of the tournament, the Gaulish army arrived. They saw the Iberians and Romans being friendly with each other. Now suspicious, their generals accuse the Iberians of deceit, and fighting ensues. In the confusion, Dunkinarius, Timkus, and the Roman army escape, leaving behind a trail of questions and fractured alliances. Both the Gauls and the Iberians' forces were dispersed and fractured. General Dunkinarius returned to Rome with vital intelligence, but also a heavy heart. knowing that while they've thwarted an immediate threat, the seeds of dissent sown by the grievances against Rome still linger. Dunkinarius is now seen not just as a warrior, but as a diplomat. He won a war without losing a single soldier. He received great honor and began to ponder a new path for Rome, one where all its citizens, patrician and plebeian, have a stake in its future. Inspired by this lofty goal, Dunkinarius Donutae and Timkus Hortonius both decide to open pastry shops in Tuscany. One day, while serving the coffee drinks to patrons at the pastry shop, Dunkinarius sees two large men enter. They look ragged from traveling a long distance, but appear to be in good spirits. It is his cousins, Iberian and Cremenius Donutae. Dunkinarius invites them to stay at his shop to work the counter. They eventually open their own Donutae shop in the neighboring town. With time, all their pastry shops grew and flourished. Iberian Cremenius Donutae became famous for their sweet donuts. Timkus Hortonius became the most revered donut shop in all of Canada. And Dunkinarius Donutae still flourishes to this day, a relic of the eternal glory of Rome. This is history.